So we have a teaching to listen to today, which talks about bringing the mind home to the body. And we usually see that we are lost in thoughts, even unconsciously, we are doing something else, but the mind is just lost somewhere else. And in that, many accidents happen. Even if they may not happen, our moods keep on changing because of those stories in the head. So, how to, from time to time, keep bringing mind to the body, which is the home of the mind. And when the mind is home, it is restful, and in that presence, we can take better decisions. We can allow ourselves to see more things than we usually see when we are lost in the thoughts. So, we are going to listen to this teaching by Thich Naht on mindfulness. So, I'll just play it. So it's this video called Ending the Vicious Circle of Negative Habits. And we are going to start from 29th minute.
Dear friends, whenever we hear the sound of the bell, we practice listening to the bell deeply. Usually when someone invite the bell to sound, we don't say hit the bell. We say invite the bell to sound. He or she should wake the bell up first with a half sound. Like this. That is a half sound. But before he does that, she does that, she has to practice mindful breathing first to prepare himself. And there is a verse for the bell master to use for breathing in and breathing out, and to make himself or herself available to the bell, qualified as a bell master. You just cannot pick up the instrument and then you make the sound. You have to prepare yourself. So holding the, may I borrow it? Holding the stick like this, you will practice mindful breathing. A few times in order to calm himself down, to make him or her into a real bell master. And the verse is like this: body, speech and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of this bell. May the hearers awaken from their forgetfulness and transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. See, that is a four-line verse for you to breathe and to become a real bell master. Body, speech and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of this bell. May the hearers awaken from their forgetfulness and transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. And then you are calm, you are fully aware, you are fully present, and now you can invite the bell to sound. You invite, you you offer half a sound, so that the whole community become aware that a real sound, a full sound is going to be heard. And everyone stop thinking, stop talking, prepare themselves to receive the full sound, the voice of the Buddha calling you back to your true home. In the practice center, the sound of the bell is the voice of the Buddha from within calling you back to your true home. And so the bell master make a half sound and allow you the time to prepare yourself for the reception of the full sound, the voice of the Buddha. You stop what you are saying, you finish what you are saying in a few seconds, you stop your thinking. Not only your talking, but you stop also your thinking. And you go home to yourself with your in-breath. And you enjoy breathing to get prepared for the sound as the voice of the Buddha from within, calling you back to your true home. And then the bell master will allow you the time for one in-breath, 1 out breath at least, and then he or she will invite the bell so that a full sound will be offered to the whole community. And then everyone will enjoy breathing in and breathing out at least 3 times. And when you breathe in, you say, I listen, I listen. And when you breathe out, you say, this wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. Listen, listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. No thinking, just listening, listening very deeply to the sound of the bell that will bring you back to your true home in the here and the now. And the one who speaks, stop speaking and thinking about what to say next, and enjoy deeply his or her in-breath and out-breath. Enjoy his being in his true home. That is the living Dharma, being in your true home. And the one who listens to the talk also stop listening and enjoy her in-breath and out-breath. Very nourishing, very in Plum Village in France. Not only we enjoy the sound of the great bell within our center, but whenever the bell, the church bell nearby sound, we also stop and enjoy the church bell. Not only we enjoy the church bell, but every time the clock play music, every quarter of the hour, we also stop thinking, stop talking, and we go back to our breath, and we enjoy breathing in and out. Whether we are in the dining hall or in the kitchen, we do the same. So the clock, the music of the clock, is like the mindfulness bell, help us to come home and to enjoy our home. Also, when you hear the telephone ringing, you practice. You are supposed not to run to the telephone. You are supposed to stay wherever you are, because the sound of the telephone is also the voice of the Buddha calling you back to your true home. Stay wherever you are and go back to your in-breath. Listen, listen. This wonderful sound brings me back to my true home. And then after having practiced like that 2 times, you do walking meditation to the telephone, or you take the telephone out and answer. And if you are the one who want to make a phone call, you prepare yourself before making the number. You practice going home to yourself. And there is also a verse for you to practice. Words can travel thousands of kilometers. They are to bring about more understanding, mutual understanding. I vow that what I am going to say will be beautiful, like flowers and embroideries. I vow that everything I'm going to say will help with more mutual understanding and compassion. And then now you are qualified to make a phone call. And when you hear, you hear the sound at the end of the line, you know that the other person is listening, breathing in and out, and you know that you have a chance to practice breathing in and out with her. So both of you are breathing in and out mindfully at the same time. It's a very beautiful practice. We call it telephone meditation. And then in Plum in the Deer Park Monastery also, if we use the computer is programmed so that every quarter of the hour there will be a bell of mindfulness, so that you can stop your work and go home and enjoy your in-breath and out-breath. And you know that when you call Plum Village or Deer Park, you don't expect them to answer right away after the first ring. They are breathing in and out.
So, is it okay if we take like 5 minutes before we take up the reflections to enjoy breathing in and out as you were sharing? Yeah, 5 minutes. It's 6:45. I'll let you know. And as we practice this, as Thich Nhat was sharing, knowing that all of us together in this group are practicing together. We are all practicing breathing mindfully. So the last 1 minute, bringing the mind back home to the body. Yeah, thank you for practicing together. So, if there are any reflections, any questions, anything anyone wants to share, we can take them up now. Okay, so if we notice, we will see that the moment we begin to practice, in this case, mindful breathing, uh, immediately we sense, for the first few seconds, we may be settled with the mindful breathing. But then the mind again, as like restless energy, wants to go outward. If we have seen that, yes. So, how would I be convinced that right now I don't have to go there, but bring the mind here? Uh, I just have to know that for me now at this point, this is what I want to do, and this is important for me. I want to do this, and then I'll be able to stop myself from getting entangled in the forest of thought and bring the mind home back. And as Kabirji says, that the true home of mind is the body, and usually the body is. He also talks about body being a palace who is without the king. Where is the king? Because the king is forever lost in the forest of thought. And all of us, are at these stages of life that we know that uh, we haven't got any resolutions in the entangled forest of thought. We will never get any resolutions, true resolutions there. So when we are convinced and now we bring the mind home, keep bringing the mind home again and again, as he was sharing, anything can become a hint to bring the mind home. Telephone bell, computer bell. It doesn't have to be a bell actually. It can be anything. We can set our own reminders that every once in a while I have to become conscious of my breathing and bring the mind home. Very simply. And when we do that, we develop a very strong intimacy with our own self, who is our bestest friend and companion, because everybody else may leave before we leave. People keep dying, no matter how much we love them, they leave us. But I am not going to leave myself before myself. So it's not that I am passing in front of myself. I am always going to be with myself. So it also develops a very strong intimacy, that we don't abandon ourselves no matter whatever we are going through. We may be going through a disturbing emotion, no matter. I am still mindfully there with myself. So parallelly, as the disturbing emotion is arising, I am rooted with the mind centered in the breath. So then I can take better care of myself rather than just lost in the sway of emotion. And as any new habits takes time, this also takes time. So we don't have to abandon it, saying that मेरे से नहीं होता. Many times we can say ki I sit for 2 minutes, but then I just can't sit. So don't sit, walk, as he was sharing. Walk, do walking meditation. Just whenever you are walking, become conscious of the body posture, become conscious of the breathing, and keep walking. Whenever you're talking, become conscious of your own body. Basic idea is to bring the mind home to the body rather than being lost in the forest of thought, which can be done anywhere. We don't need any tool, any instrument. So not to give up very easily, because if we practice many a times, and the initial enthusiasm dies, and after the first few weeks or even 1 week we say, nay, this is not for me. And why this is not for me? Because I'm habituated to live in the forest of thought. So the old habit is to live there, restless, agitated, and anxious. And if I'm convinced now that this is a practice for me, the new habit can be developed, like we develop any new habit. If I have to leave the addiction to cigarettes, for example, which I know is killing my body, then I will push myself and develop a new habit and leave the older habit. So it's just a matter of old habits die hard. But if we give up too soon, then we lose a beautiful opportunity to be back home. So even if it is discomforting, let us continue as long as we can. And we can, even if it's 2 minutes scattered throughout the day, 5 minutes scattered throughout the day, we can do this. Early morning before we wake up, for 5 minutes, staying calmly with the breath, not entering the forest and storyline immediately. Then afternoon, we can again, before lunch, we can 5 minutes be with ourselves. And then towards the end, before sleeping, it's a very good time, because everything is quietening down, and we can also bring the mind. Okay, now mind, it's time for you to come back home. So like that, we rest. And if we rest like this, it's a beautiful rest that we get, even if we sleep very little. And if we are not able to sleep, I think that also is very good practice. If I'm not able to sleep, I'm lying down, नींद नहीं आ रही. So what to do? Again, practice conscious mindful breathing. So any time can be a good time. We cannot have an excuse that I'm not finding time. Because if we say I'm not finding time, I'm not finding time for my own self. How sad is that? Yeah. Anything, anyone?
uh, it was interesting when uh, really whenever the phone rings will be I don't know how my voice is. It audible? It's I have some infection, no?
Yeah, audible. Yes.
So we really rush. It's a habit. I mean, immediately picking up the phone. So that's really interesting, and we have to be by doing that itself. Will stop. Okay, ringing the bell, but stop. Don't run. And that same way, we are so habituated to look at the messages. I think so. So it's immediately I'll be talking to you, but still I'll be just I want to see one time which message came, WhatsApp, whatever it is. So maybe when that thought comes, I think we can just wait a moment, do at least once. uh, I mean, while talking to you, I thought that also, because every 5 minutes we are so habituated to look at a message. So before checking that message, we can do it. I think it really, it's really interesting actually. Just think
I think
about it.
that's beautiful addition, that we keep on checking the messages.
Yeah,
So
that's a,
even before checking the message, we can take one breath
just
in, one breath
one
out.
breath is enough. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's, I think it's interesting
Beautiful,
actually.
beautiful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Yes. Yeah, anyone else? Anything?
Yeah, hi. For me also, like, this was a very good, I guess, realization that we don't have to just go for special things, right? Like, we have this habit of copying. Like, say, I don't know, if I'm a follower of art of living, I would keep like long hair and I'll try to wear white clothes. I've done that kind, like I've seen people do that, mostly guys. If I'm following somebody else, it's like we forget what they are doing, but we are so obsessed with the exterior that it's just a slippery slope. So like, I think I shared in the morning also, like not morning, night, that uh, how Thai talks about, the gong. And then it feels it has to be a gong. It has to be a specific bell, but to see that any trigger, like say if somebody keeps calling you and that annoys you, for example, you can keep that as a trigger, right? That whenever I hear that person call me, I have to just breathe. But I think before this, one has to be convinced that I want to breathe, right? I want to be here. And before that happens, one needs to realize that I am not here. Because that is also a very big thing, right? That realization that, because if somebody says, "Where are you?" I would be like, "I'm right here. What are you talking about?" Right? But my mind, to accept that my mind is hardly ever with the body, is a very big acceptance in itself. So I think again, baby steps that yes, it's true. If I sit for 5 minutes and I try to focus on my breath, second, third breath, I'm somewhere else. That step one. Second is that I want to be more here. And then, of course, like you were saying, that if we establish those practices in all sincerity, the morning and sleeping time is the easiest, right? Because these are events, we cannot miss them. There is a sleeping time when I sleep, no matter it might not be constant, but I sleep at some time, I wake up at some time, so it's easier. And then after that, we can, and of course, these can be simultaneous too. It's not like one step, two step. That anything that is present in our lives, like, it was so beautifully shared, messages are more common than, ringtones these days. So, yeah, somebody calling your name, or I don't know, every time you drink water, or anything can be used to remind you. Like the important thing is not what is reminding me, because we can go quite elaborate in that. But the important thing, what they are trying, I mean, the essence of the matter is what all can bring me back home, bring me back home. Yeah. And I think again, how we were discussing, when we were doing the chanting session, Jetsunwala said that she just chanted for like, with full awareness for 3 days. And the chant started becoming her. Like, she was a parallel chanting going on. You had shared about the mother, right? That if you just give 3 days of devotion, you can connect with the psychic being. And 3 days is actually nothing, right? So again, just having any such aspiration would really drive one, motivate one to move in that direction. Yeah, but beautiful video, like very, because it's again very practical, right? That things that one can do here and now. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for bringing it out. Anything else, anyone? So, as it was shared that we have to be convinced, and it's very important for us to be getting convinced, because if we are not convinced, then the mind will be continuously at two places. Like it'll keep jumping, it comes back to the breath and then it keeps jumping because there is something important lying there to attend. And if that something is so important that it's distracting us, it's better to attend that. So it's better to be there at least fully, not to keep struggling in the two boats. So getting convinced, I think it's very, very important. So any last comments before we, Taru is suggesting 2-3 minutes. Yeah, we can definitely do that. So let's take, if not anything more, let's do 2 minutes silent practice, again enjoying being with the breath. Then we will end. Right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining and wishing everyone a continuing happy practice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for joining in. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Always such a joy.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
so joyful to join in.
Yeah.